11 News starts with breaking news.
Major breaking news, the state just sped up the vaccine rollout and everyone in Pennsylvania will be eligible to get a shot in less than 3 weeks. And some workers are eligible starting today. The state just announced those folks are law enforcement, firefighters, grocery store workers, and food industry workers. People in Phase 1B can schedule an appointment starting Monday. Phase 1C will be eligible 1 week later. And again, everyone will be eligible to set up an appointment on April 19th. Eligibility does not guarantee an immediate vaccination appointment. The news conference that's been going on is still underway, and we'll have more breaking details in this newscast as soon as it ends. Also breaking, for a second day in a row, we are seeing new COVID cases above 400 in Allegheny County. The health department says it's learned of 418 new cases since yesterday. Health officials also reported 10 additional deaths, including 7 from this month. The health department director is set to hold a briefing on cases and vaccinations this afternoon. You can look for new developments tonight at 5 on Channel 11 News. And more breaking news. In the past hour, a tense SWAT situation ended in Pittsburgh's Perry South neighborhood. SWAT was called in around 9 this morning when officials say a man barricaded himself inside a car on Perrysville Avenue. Flashbangs were used before the suspect surrendered. No one was hurt, and we're now working to learn what led up to that standoff. Well, one line of showers has moved through, but more is still coming later today. And meteorologist Danielle Dozier is tracking snow showers in the forecast. Danielle?
Yeah, we've got a lot going on in this weather forecast. Gordon, taking a live look over the city, we've got the raindrops on the lens. That's because we are seeing a few showers passing through Pittsburgh right now. And these are those spotty showers I was speaking of on Channel 11 Morning News, that we were going to have the steadiest in the morning and then a few spotty to scattered ones this afternoon. So keeping that umbrella on standby. You can see that rain moving through the Greensburg area right now. And the temperatures are falling behind the cold front. Look at it right here through Allegheny County. Back to the west, you see that darker green shaded color? That's the cooler air. 46 in Beaver, but it's still 54 in Pittsburgh and 55 in Greensburg. So this cold front, you can really see it here on our temperature map. This is going to continue to move off to the east. With time today, temperatures will fall into the 40s throughout the afternoon. The winds will pick up a little bit this afternoon as well from the northwest, and it's going to turn even windier tomorrow and colder. I'm tracking that and the snow coming up.
All right, thanks, Danielle. In a few hours, President Joe Biden will bring his vision of the future to Pittsburgh, and he's chosen our city for a reason. Pittsburgh was once dominated by factories and steel mills, and the city and its workers were forced to make changes. The president plans to unveil his major infrastructure bill during today's visit. It's designed to tackle everything from roads and bridges to jobs. More road work is on the agenda, among other things. That's President Joe Biden's goal, at least. And today, during his visit to Pittsburgh, he'll lay out the first part of his $3 to $4 trillion infrastructure plan to rebuild the nation's roads, bridges, water systems, and technology with climate-related measures as well. It invests in manufacturing, research and development, and the caregiving economy as well. Democrats say it's all part of a bigger picture.
It's going to create millions of jobs across the country, right? This is the time for us to rebuild crumbling infrastructure that's been in place for the last 100 years.
But getting Republicans on board won't be easy.
Let's do an infrastructure bill. Let's don't turn it into a massive effort to raise taxes on businesses and individuals.
There will be some tax increases, but they're saying
if you're making less than $400,000 a year, this proposal will not involve a tax increase for you.
And they say there will be no gas tax and no tax on how many miles you drive. The plan will largely be financed by increasing the business tax and signing on to an effort establishing a global minimum tax for corporations, plus no more federal subsidies for fossil fuel firms, and multinational corporations will have to pay the U.S. tax rate. A senior official says the White House wants to see considerable progress on the bill by Memorial Day. The second part of the plan is aimed at child care, paid family leave, health care, and education infrastructure. Air Force One is scheduled to touch down at around 3 this afternoon. You can look for breaking details tonight on Channel 11 News at 5. We have new information on a deadly train accident in Westmoreland County. Someone was hit on the tracks near Railroad and North 7th Streets in Jeanette early this morning. Norfolk Southern tells us the victim was walking on the tracks and the train engineer could not stop in time. The train was hauling 46 cars. The victim's name has not been released. Police in Beaver County say a woman stabbed her husband to death and she is in custody right now. Her name is Angela Hunt. State police say she called 911 to say that she had stabbed her husband, Chad, just before midnight. When police got to Return Street in Aliquippa, they say they found him dead. They arrested Angela for criminal homicide, and we're working to find out more about what led up to the stabbing for Channel 11 News at 5. The University of Pittsburgh saw another surge in COVID cases this past weekend. The school says 29 more students tested positive since Friday, and one more staff member as well. Pitt says COVID is now widespread across 13 residence halls. Because of the increase, Pitt is urging students to wear masks, keep their distance, and avoid big gatherings. The school is also reminding people with spring travel plans to quarantine once they get back, even if they've been vaccinated. Another big story we're following. Pfizer says its COVID-19 shot is safe and 100% effective for kids as young as 12. Channel 11's Mike Holden spoke with a local doctor who has some questions about a vaccine for kids.
Pfizer says its COVID-19 vaccination is officially effective in kids 12 to 15 years old. Some teachers and parents are calling this a potential game changer. However, doctors here at Allegheny Health Network say there are additional questions over its effectiveness and more research is necessary. It's a potential major move in the race to vaccinate. Pfizer just announced their COVID-19 vaccine is 100% effective in protecting kids as young as 12 years old. Preliminary data from their recent study of more than 2,000 12 to 15-year-olds who got the shot shows there were no COVID cases compared to 18 who were given a placebo. System Chair of Pediatrics at AHN, Dr. Joseph Arakri, says it's encouraging news. However, he says they need to continue doing research before there's a full-scale rollout, and he has some questions.
In general, kids do not get that sick from COVID, albeit some do. But the vast majority do not. So if we're going to do a vaccine, we have to make sure that first, it does what it's supposed to do, which the Pfizer vaccine seems to. Second, doesn't cause any harm to the child. And that's as important as the first one.
And Pfizer now plans to ask the FDA for emergency use authorization in the weeks ahead. We're going to keep a close eye on that. In the meantime, were there any side effects for kids that took part in this study? How did they handle that second dose of the shot? And also, what does this mean for improved mental health in the future? All of that coming up for Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting outside of AHN on the north side, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
3 feet is the new social distancing guidance for elementary schools in Pennsylvania. The new requirement aligns with current CDC guidelines. Middle and high school students in counties with high transmission rates should continue to stay at 6 feet apart, though. Last week, we were invited inside a Pittsburgh public classroom, and you can see the desks 6 feet apart there. This will likely still be the case when students start to return next week. A small-town pharmacy group has expanded vaccinations, giving frontline workers and first responders shots today. Channel 11's Alyssa Raymond is in Westmoreland County with more on the race to vaccinate.
Mainline Pharmacy Group is now vaccinating frontline workers and first responders. Here at St. Barbara Roman Catholic Church, they've been averaging between 1,300 and 1,500 people a day.
With my daughter and 3 children living in Michigan, we get to go see them now with a little bit more confidence. We're happy about that.
Since January, the Mainline Pharmacy Group has vaccinated about 60,000 people. Today, they started vaccinating law enforcement and firefighters, grocery store and restaurant workers, and all farm workers. Proof of employment is not required.
I love it. I wish we would get to the point where we could open up for everybody, because our whole motto here is to get vaccines in arms. You know, if the state says we're ready to go with everybody, we're ready to go with everybody.
You do need to make an appointment. You can find a link on WPXI.com. If you don't have internet, you can call one of the stores. While we were here at the clinic, we spoke to a local doctor. Hear what he has to say to the people that are still skeptical about the vaccine today at 5. Reporting in Harrison City, Alyssa Raymond, Channel 11 News.
Police say a Hempfield man used wheelchair arms to try to break out of the Westmoreland County prison. According to our trip partners, Jewel Maskerma was booked into jail on March 20th on a domestic violence charge. 4 days later, guards found a metal wheelchair in his cell with the arms removed, and the metal frame around his cell window had been pried off. Court records say he used 2 screws to hold the metal frame in place when the guards did cell checks. Day 3 of the Derek Chauvin murder trial, and the court is hearing more eyewitness testimony. People at the scene of the incident last May say They wanted to help George Floyd, but were held back by police. NBC's Jay Gray has more from outside the Minneapolis courtroom.
Hey there, day 3 in this highly charged trial begins after what's been 2 days of emotional testimony. Things wrapping up yesterday with a Minneapolis firefighter and EMT who happened upon the scene and offered help to police, saying that she saw George Floyd and thought that he needed medical attention immediately. What they told her was that she should just go to the sidewalk with the rest of those that were watching what was unfolding there.
There's a man being killed. I would have been able to provide medical attention to the best of my abilities, and this human was denied that right.
As we move forward in this trial today, you might see things start to shift a bit. All we've seen to this point is people who were at the scene and really sharing what they saw and their emotions as events unfolded as George Floyd died. The prosecution is going to have to step into a more scientific area, bring in some medical experts, bring in some police trainers and things like that. So look for a shift today as this trial continues to move forward, expected to last about 3 to 4 weeks here. That's the latest in Minneapolis. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now.
Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is being investigated by the Justice Department over a possible relationship with a 17-year-old girl. According to a report from the New York Times, the DOJ is examining whether Gaetz violated federal sex trafficking laws. The investigation reportedly started in the last weeks of the Trump administration under Attorney General Bill Barr. Gaetz has strongly denied the claims against him and countered, claiming that he and his family are victims of a $25 million extortion plot by a former Justice Department official. Investigators have not commented. If you're waiting on a stimulus check, check your mailbox. The group who will get paper checks or debit cards in the next few days. Homeowners say this busy Pittsburgh road is getting more dangerous every day. What the city is doing to catch speeders and cut down on crashes.
Well, we've already picked up a 1/4 inch of rain here in the city. You can see the rain falling right now. Coming up, I'm tracking when snow will move in.
It's affecting us and our family.
And someone is hurting her horses, shooting them with paintballs and BBs. The emotional toll the abuse is taking on their young owner. Neighbors in Greenfield are begging the city to make some changes. One woman tells us Beechwood Boulevard has become too dangerous. The street is right off the Parkway East. Teresa Nightingale says she's called 311 multiple times and even began taking pictures of all the crashes, which have included cars catching fire.
Anything at this point. A flashing light would be great, like one of the ones in the strip where you hit and it flashes when people want to cross.
We took her concerns to the city, and officials tell us they've narrowed the lanes, put in a walking trail, and increased police patrols. And the mayor's office said a statement saying they're looking at additional improvements, but in the meantime, police will be increasing their presence in the area.
It's really heartbreaking to see that it's happening to them because I personally would die for my horses.
One of those horses nearly died in that girl's arms. Someone is targeting her animals, shooting them with paintballs and BBs. Channel 11's Jillian Hartman found out police are getting involved.
Well, this is really sad to see. These two horses here have wounds scattered all over their body, including this one right here. Now the owner wants to know who's responsible.
It's a shame that it's happening, and I don't understand how anybody could do it or why anybody would do it.
These animals mean the world to Carolyn Job and her kids.
My animals are like everything to me. My animals come before my family and everything.
The family believes someone is targeting their 5 mules and 2 horses. The animals are kept at this farm along Harkins Mill Road in Rochester. Over the past 3 to 4 years, Job says vandals have damaged fences, locks like this one cut, signs destroyed, but now she says her animals are getting hurt.
We didn't notice any abuse until recently. We seen paintballs down the side of one of our babies.
Last week, they found more than 50 golf balls in their field and shotgun shells like this, which they believe contained BBs.
We noticed that the mules were having abscess on them. My mule had a broken femur. The cops went over them with a metal detector, and every one of them had metal on them. So we were waiting to get x-rays once we save up the money for it.
I found out Newswickly Township Police is handling this case. Job says they put up cameras. The family shared photos of the horse's injuries. One had to get surgery for an abscess last week, but days later, the horse almost died after they found her in the stall, barely breathing.
It's really heartbreaking to see that it's happening to them because I personally would die for my horses, and it's just really sad.
The family took the horses to a friend's farm to heal. They're now trying to get word out to the community to hopefully get some answers.
I want justice for my mules. They need it and they deserve it. They shouldn't be treated like this.
Now the police chief for Newswickly Township tells me this is an ongoing investigation. I'm Jillian Hartman, Channel 11 News.
More details now on that continuing breaking news coverage. The state just sped up the vaccine rollout, and everyone in Pennsylvania will be eligible to get a shot in less than 3 weeks. And as we mentioned, some workers are eligible starting today. Channel 11's Gabriella DeLuca joins us live now from the breaking news desk. Gabriella.
Gordon, this announcement answers the question so many of us had over the last few months. When will we be able to get vaccinated? Everyone in our state 16 and older will be eligible by April 19th. Acting Secretary of Health Allison Beam gave us the timeline for the next few weeks, so I want to go over it here. As of today, law enforcement, firefighters, grocery store workers, and food and agriculture workers are eligible. On Monday, the rest of 1B is free to make an appointment. Then, April 12th, people in Phase 1C. And April 19th, appointments are open for everyone in our state who is 16 and older. This is in response to President Biden's announcement that he wants the vaccine available to 90% of adults. In our state, Secretary Beam says they are seeing an increase in open appointments and more supply of the vaccine.
Providers representing every region at that time said that they had available appointments starting next week. Anecdotally, we are hearing from providers across the state, including densely populated regions like the Southeast and the Southwest, that they are ready to move to the next phase of eligibility.
This was a very long news conference with a lot of information. I am going to be going through and listening through it, and I'll have another live report starting at 5 on Channel 11. Back to you, Gordon.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Thanks. We are taking a look at a forecast tonight that is going to be much different than what we were experiencing out there this morning. And to put it in perspective, this morning, When I was heading out and driving into work, 3 o'clock in the morning or so, we were in the 60s still. We're in the 50s right now. And then tonight we're falling all the way into the upper 20s. We're going to have a few showers in spots this afternoon, but we're going to have another slug of moisture coming in from the south as we head into late tonight. And then that rain is changing over to snow. The winds will be kicking up and the temperatures will be in the 20s by tomorrow morning. Here's our storm tracker maps. 4 o'clock this afternoon. Here's the spots of rain showing up in green and some dry gaps as well in between here tonight. Then we get into about 10, 11 p.m. We begin to see a little more moisture come in from the south. Here's midnight, and we've begun to see that transition from snow to rain, or at least mixing with. That trend will continue overnight as the colder air continues to filter in. And during the morning hours of Thursday, we're going to be dealing with scattered snow showers. So if you're heading out early, you're going into work, you're going to be most likely dealing with some limited visibility in areas of scattered snow showers. And the winds are going to be pretty breezy as well. So maybe it's a 2 hands on the wheel kind of morning for you. As far as the snowfall forecast itself goes, in general, the data has been suggesting that we'll see less than an inch, and that'll be on elevated and grassy surfaces mainly. And you can see here the darker blue shaded color. That's where in the highest elevations we could see a little bit more than an inch. Temperature wise tomorrow, the highs are only going to be in the lower 30s with about 34 degrees. Northwest winds will be sustained between 15 and 25 miles per hour. And coming up in the next half hour, I'm actually putting together a map that's the wind forecast hourly data for you, and we'll take a look at the wind chills as well, what it will feel like when you factor in these strong winds tomorrow. So stay with me for that. Now, I've been looking over some data. I think the gusts could be up around 30, perhaps even 35 miles per hour tomorrow. So it's a pretty blustery day behind this cold front. And the coldest ahead is Friday morning with 21 degrees. 41 will be the high in the afternoon. We're going to be bringing in a lot of sunshine for Friday. It's going to be overall pretty nice day, just well below average. Average is mid-50s. Your weekend is always in view. Well, Easter wanted to come up first, didn't it? Let's take a look here at the forecast. Saturday and Sunday, 58 degrees on Saturday, 64 on Sunday, with the temperatures down in the low to middle 40s. Now let's take a look at this Easter forecast hour by hour. 7 o'clock temperature right around 42. Wanted to highlight this because I know a lot of us may have plans, maybe have some Easter egg hunts going on. We're near 60 at the noon hour and then 64 degrees for that high temperature, as I mentioned. Right now looks like plenty of sunshine, but stay tuned. Some of the late data has been trying to bring in some spotty rain. Really hope that doesn't happen. We'll keep you updated.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Children skipping breakfast, and not by choice. The changes the local food bank is making to ensure as many kids as possible have food on the table.
We just decided to lay the gauntlet down.
Popular Strip District ice cream shop taking the lead. Their challenge for other businesses to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. As the fight to raise Pennsylvania's minimum wage continues in Harrisburg, the owner of a strip district business is taking the lead. He's raising his employees' pay to $15 an hour plus tips. And Jacob Hanchar, who owns Chauvin Ice Cream, is encouraging other small businesses to pay living wages as well.
If you're hiring for the minimum, you're getting the minimum amount of work. You're getting the minimum amount of effort, and you're getting the minimum enthusiasm out of a person.
The new increased wages at Chauvin's go into effect tomorrow. Managers are actually earning equity in the company, so they will own a piece of the business while working there. Americans who do not usually file taxes will soon get their stimulus checks. The Treasury Department and the IRS are working on rolling out the payments for Social Security recipients. Officials say the majority of these payments will be made through direct deposit or existing direct express cards. If you fall into the category, expect to receive the money in the next Wednesday, but it could come as soon as this weekend. Are you looking for a job? Sheetz is hiring. The company says they need 1,200 workers statewide. Hiring events are being held right now through 8 o'clock tonight at all Sheetz locations.
Well, the cold front is moving through our area right now. Coming up, I've got the chill in the air, what you can expect it to feel like when you head out tomorrow morning.
It's a shame. Like, we shouldn't have to live in fear all the time of worrying if our stuff is going to get destroyed or damaged or somebody's going to take it.
Crime spree caught on camera. The Pittsburgh neighborhood where families say thieves are terrorizing their streets. It may be spring, but we're still going to have to deal with the wind chill. Meteorologist Danielle Dozier is tracking some big changes over the next 24 hours.
Yes, we're going to have those heavier coats on tomorrow. Gordon, a wind forecast shows winds in the morning at 10 to 15 miles per hour, but they'll increase throughout the day. And you see a lot of yellow shaded color here on the screen. That's sustained winds that will be up around 20 and even 25 miles per hour by the afternoon. When you factor in the winds, yeah, this is what it's going to feel like at 7 o'clock in the morning. Upper teens to low 20s, and the wind chills are only going to be in the lower 20s throughout the afternoon as well, because the air temperatures aren't climbing that much either. So it's going to be a blustery day, colder, and we're going to be dealing, both trying to say that at the same time, with some scattered snow showers as well. Coming up here in the next few minutes in my Severe Weather Team 11 forecast, we'll take a look at the hour-by-hour wet weather, the rain to snow timing, if you're just joining us. Back to you.
This video shows burglars rummaging through a car in Brookline. Neighbors tell us it's happening up and down their street. As our Amy Hudak shows us, the group behind these break-ins might surprise you.
It's a total violation. It gives you a very unsettled feeling.
It's 1:30 in the morning on Berkshire Avenue in Brookline. You can see two people walking down opposite sides of the street, even activating a motion detector light. One of the thieves, who looks no older than a teen wearing a backpack, rummages through Heather Houston's car.
And that's absolute violation. Like, we live in a safe neighborhood and think that, our stuff is safe here, and it's not.
Everything was caught on Houston's cameras, and she wasn't the only neighbor.
Everybody on the street got hit by them.
Neighbors say from the top of Berkshire down, cameras picked up the motion outside.
It's a shame. Like, we shouldn't have to live in fear all the time of worrying if our stuff is going to get destroyed or damaged or somebody's going to take it.
Another neighbor captured this video. The suspects, one on each side of the street, look like little kids.
I would never allow my child to do that, or I would be so upset if my child did something like that to somebody.
I hope if it is somebody's child, they would take responsibility. But as neighbors, we need to be, as I said, aware.
Jennifer Kirsch was the victim of a home invasion 10 years ago and says her sense of awareness is heightened. She worries what this could escalate to and has a message for the kids.
Stop. The worst case scenario is somebody's going to come out and somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to defend their property, and it's going to end poorly.
On this tight-knit street, neighbors know each other and say they always keep an eye out for the family next door. And so do their cameras.
Like, we all look out for each other on this block, and it's a good thing.
In Brookline, Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
State police are following up on several leads in hope of finding a missing teenager. 15-year-old Gage Frame was last seen Friday morning in South Franklin Township. State police say they've received several calls and are following up on that information, and you're asked to call police if you've seen him. Leaders are addressing a rise in violent crimes in the city of Pittsburgh. Mayor Bill Peduto says the city has seen more this month compared to March of 2020. The city is trying to combat it with more community outreach. The mayor believes homicides are out of revenge from previous shootings.
In order to be able to cut that part off, we need the leadership of community leaders who have the ability to know the individuals and to be able to intervene to stop that from happening.
The mayor also says we need opportunities for young people to help cut the cycle of violence. He says the city's after-school dinner program and Learn and Earn program are providing just that. Pittsburgh City Council says we need to better protect voting rights, and they unanimously passed new legislation. The For the People Act expands federal voting rights, restricts gerrymandering, and brings transparency to the campaign finance system. The council also weighed in on the transgender athletes debate, and they denounced all attempts to stop young athletes from playing on the teams that match their gender identity. 31 states are considering bans. Pennsylvania is not one of them. Even as vaccine expansion continues, millions of Americans continue to feel the pressure of the pandemic, especially when it comes to ensuring they and their children have enough to eat. NBC's Sarah Dulloff reports.
Long lines and grateful recipients. During 2020, the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank served 9 million more meals than the previous year.
How many times people have told us that they're down to the last of their food.
A growing number of clients, families with kids. Food insecurity among children in southwestern Pennsylvania has increased 57%.
We restructured our program department and we have a team devoted to our child nutrition programs. So we're doing more than ever to put resources towards feeding children.
And it's not just southwestern Pennsylvania. Feeding America projects this year in the U.S., 1 in 6 kids may experience food insecurity.
COVID was really the perfect storm. Those numbers increased significantly. So now we're seeing a lot more families that are struggling to put food on the table.
Dr. Emily Decker, a pediatrician at Nationwide Children's Hospital, says food insecurity can be detrimental to a child's physical and mental development and potentially impact their entire life.
If a child is malnourished, they're more likely to get sick. They're more likely to be hospitalized, and they're also more likely to have chronic disease.
This New Jersey food bank received a wave of donations after a 9-year-old girl told her virtual classroom her stomach hurt because she was hungry.
Her bravery not only has helped her mom and her, brother and sister, but it's helped an entire community.
Food banks, volunteers, and donors continuing to come together to help that little girl and the other children she represents. Sarah Dolph, NBC News.
Food banks appreciate all donations, but say money is often the easiest for them to work with. If you'd like to help our neighbors, 11 Cares is partnering with the Pittsburgh Food Bank. We're hosting a food drive. To donate, all you have to do is go to WPXI.com and look under the 11 Cares section for this logo. You can also check it out and find that event on Facebook. The pandemic has put a strain on families trying to keep up with their rent or mortgage. And now a Pennsylvania state lawmaker is unveiling his Housing is Essential plan. It would provide more than $63 billion in federal funding for affordable housing, something State Representative Mike Doyle says is needed.
Even before the pandemic, there was a shortage of affordable housing in major cities, including Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. But I think it's important for people to understand this is just not a problem in the cities. It's an issue in communities all across America.
The White House just extended the eviction moratorium until July 1st. According to the Census Bureau, more than 5 million Americans are at risk of eviction or foreclosure. The NFL is making plans to have stadiums at full capacity for the upcoming season. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says the league wants to see every one of our fans back. The NFL will need Allegheny County and the state to sign off on attendance plans to fully open Heinz Field. Tomorrow is game 1 for the Pirates. They open the season against the Cubs in Chicago tomorrow afternoon. Chad Kuhl will make his first opening day start on the mound for the Bucs. The Pirates are going fully digital for the home opener next week against the Cubs. The team will only accept digital tickets. Fans are asked to have the app open and their tickets ready at the gate. The team added faster internet in the park as they transition to a cashless experience. A mother's instincts never fail. How this smart cat got her kids the help they needed. But first, a push to ban menthol cigarettes. The group that advocates say are at the highest risk of getting hooked. There's new pressure on the Food and Drug Administration to ban menthol cigarettes and other flavored tobacco products. Anti-tobacco groups say children and minorities are especially at risk. Channel 11's Samantha Manning explains why some say the pandemic is adding to the urgency.
Stopping the sale of flavored tobacco products has been a top priority for anti-tobacco groups. They argue these flavors are intentionally marketed to kids.
Menthol, mint, cotton candy, Cap'n Crunch.
Now there's a renewed effort to urge the FDA to ban menthol cigarettes, which give smokers a cooling sensation and a mint-flavored taste.
Never has it been more important to act quickly and decisively.
Matthew Myers is the president of the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, one of the dozens of organizations that's part of this letter to the FDA.
That 50% of the kids who smoke in the United States start with menthol because it makes it easier to start. And 85% of African Americans who smoke in the United States use menthol because the industry has targeted them.
The FDA says nearly 20 million Americans smoke menthol cigarettes. Tobacco companies have said prohibiting adult behavior doesn't work and defended the sale of menthol cigarettes.
The FDA has until the end of April to respond to the petition. If they choose to move ahead with the ban, there would first be a public comment period.
Well, our temperature has dropped now that the cold front has pushed through. We're in the upper 40s right now. I'm timing out that cold, and if you're just joining us, I'll walk you through the timeline of the rain turning to snow tonight.
First, these crumbling steps are now off limits until they get fixed, where neighbors are facing a big detour.
This is my road right here. Does that look like a road you want to travel?
The Ray Avenue steps are among the longest and steepest in Pittsburgh, but now they are crumbling. They run through the city's Brookline neighborhood, and Channel 11's Michelle Newell found out just how dangerous these steps have become.
People use the Ray Avenue city steps to get to the bus stop, but right now this is the only section of the steps that's open. And this is why. As you can see, steps are literally crumbling and caving in, and neighbors in this area are fed up.
Discouraged and disgusted.
It's very hard to walk down. Down there, there are slabs missing, and
They should have been closed a long time ago.
Neighbors in Brookline have had enough of what seems to be a constant problem.
This is separating from this where it's been sinking in to the ground. So eventually, it's all going to go. Because, I mean, it's just caving the ground in now.
Michael Whitlock lives right next to the Ray Avenue City steps and uses them to get to the bus stop.
This is my road right here. Does that look like a road you want to travel?
And getting down the steps during the winter months is especially challenging because of water that pours over them.
I've fell down these things, I don't know, multiple times. I'm talking with boots on. Sheets of ice like this. It's crazy.
There's been a leak there for over a year.
Neighbors say 2 flights of the steps were recently closed, but they'd rather see the city repair them as soon as possible because getting around them to get to the bus stop takes more time.
You have to probably take at least triple the amount of time to get where you need to go.
And these aren't the only city steps in Brookline that are damaged. We noticed some crumbling over on Stetstone Street.
Simple, just repair what needs repaired.
We contacted city officials about the problem and also asked them if they used a grant they received in 2016 to improve city steps. We're still waiting to hear back. Michelle Newell, Channel 11 News.
We know the impact landslides have on our region, and now a local lawmaker wants to make sure those families get the help they need. State Rep Emily Kincaid is spearheading a bill that would create the Landslide Insurance and Assistance Program. It includes a special fund to ensure homes are properly protected. Landslides have become a growing problem not only in Allegheny County but across the state. In 2019, they damaged 131 properties in Allegheny County. And at any given time, PennDOT is monitoring a few hundred landslides across western PA.
Your severe winter Teen 11 forecast.
Well, here's a live look over the city. You can't really see it. You can see the raindrops, though, on the lens. We have that rain that's been moving through the area. This morning, it was pretty steady, and the steadiest has cleared out. We're kind of dealing with a little bit of drizzle and a few little light passing showers. Visible satellite shows us the view from outer space. You can see all that white shaded color that's coming across the screen. That is the thick cloud cover that continues across our area right now. Storm Tracker Doppler 11 radar. We do have those light showers that are off to the east. A few spots of rain or drizzle here through Allegheny and Washington and Lawrence counties. And this will continue to move from west to east across the area. It is limiting visibility in spots. A 2-mile visibility right now in the city and an 1/8 mile in Indiana. 3-mile visibility out in Beaver and 4 in Butler. If you are traveling, watch for this limited visibility. Of course, you always want to use your low beams, not your high beams, as that fog could be reflected right back to you. So our temperatures right now are ranging from 53 in Butler to 49 in Pittsburgh. This is a drop from about 54 degrees at the last observation thanks to the cold front. You can actually see the cold front here on our color contour map where you're seeing the darker green shaded color here and to the west. That's where we have temperatures that are generally in the upper 40s or low 50s. And then out ahead of it, we've got mid to upper 50s. And we do expect that the wind shift to the northwest will continue for the rest of the area as the cold front moves to the east. And those winds will be right around 10 to 15 miles per hour throughout the day today. As far as tonight, upper 20s to low 30s. It's going to be a really cold start to the morning tomorrow, and the winds are going to be breezy, so it'll feel even colder like the upper teens tomorrow morning, as I showed you in our storm tracker maps a few moments ago. Here's a look at the timing of the rain. So a little bit of spotty rain throughout the rest of the day today, or drizzle, and the rest of us, we're going to be dealing with some rain changing to snow later on tonight. So you can see here our timeline between about 11 p.m. to midnight. We begin to see it mix the way it looks right now, and thereafter it changes to all snow as that colder air works its way in. We'll be dodging those scattered snow showers for your Thursday morning commute. That's 6 o'clock in the morning. You see a little snow there, and the theme is that it'll be cold, it'll be windy, and it'll be snowing for Thursday with the air temperature only at 34 degrees. And we'll fall to 21, though, by Friday morning, which will be the coldest, it looks like, of the week ahead. And then we finally get a nice little jump up in the temperatures at 41 degrees as we head into your Friday with plenty of sunshine. Your weekend is always in view, and Saturday looks good at 58, and Sunday looks good as well with 64. Your Easter forecast one last time here for you. About 42 at 7 o'clock. Looks really nice there. 59 degrees at noon, 64, mostly sunny and above average. We should be in the mid-50s for this time of year. So overall, just a really nice weekend forecast, and we'll keep you posted if anything changes.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Home prices soared at the start of the year. Prices rose a little more than 11% in January compared to the year before. This is the fastest increase in 7 years. Analysts say the pandemic has largely fueled that increase. And new homes are also more expensive right now. And one reason why is wood. Lumber prices are up 180% from last year. Higher material costs have pushed the price of a new home up by about $24,000.
Hey guys, you know what a difference it makes to have the right tool for the right job, right? One of the tools that we use every day, and it makes a huge difference in our quality of life, especially in the kitchen, is great knives. These knives are beautiful. And I love the fact that we always like to bring you special things at special prices. This is actually something you're only going to find with local steals and deals right now, and it's beautiful. These are Japanese carbon forged knives. That's the tradition that really makes a really beautiful knife set. So years ago, I went to Japan, I went to Kyoto, I went to a little shop in the marketplace that used to make samurai swords, and I got 2 knives. After all this time, they're still the only knives I use. The quality of that is amazing. This is that kind of heritage and quality, and I love all the different options. So you have the Santoku set. Look how beautiful it is, full tang, gorgeous handle, beautiful gift box. Here's your 4 steak knives. Here is your 3-piece chef knife set. Here is your bread knife and utility knife. That's another great set. The Nakiri knife, that's serious, right? And we have a knife sharpener. We have the block, and this has the rods. Huge difference, by the way, because when you put your knives in a regular chef block, you do not know what's growing down there. This is going to be something that works for all knives, and it's dishwasher safe. This is something that's actually made by Caloric. They're a company that's been around for about 90 years. They do fabulous quality. And this knife set is that Japanese carbon forged, and I love the whole idea of it. It even has this cobra design on the blades, which actually helps it go more smoothly through whatever you're cutting to make it an even better performance. These are all on localsteals.com at 27 to 38% off, and they're all going to be ways to make your everyday even better in your kitchen. And that's something that's going to make your food even better.
People were mixing up more cocktails at home when the pandemic prompted the shutdown of bars and restaurants last year. The travel rewards company upgraded points, wanted to see which ones were the favorite in each state. They used Google Trends data to see which ones people were looking up for the instructions for, and the most popular drinks were margaritas, mojitos, and pina coladas. Pennsylvania residents kept it simple. The most popular drink was wine coolers. Tampa Bay Buccaneer head coach Bruce Arians is a man of his word, and here's proof. The former Steelers assistant coach promised to get a tattoo if his team won the Super Bowl. They did, and so he did. Arians posted this photo. The tattoo features a Super Bowl 55 logo with the team's name, flag, and, of course, the winning score. Check out this video. It's been going viral. A mother's instinct never fails, and it shows a stray cat walking into a doctor's office in Turkey carrying one of her kittens, just casually walking in. She puts down that cat and then returns with the second kitten. Turns out those kittens had eye infections, and workers at the clinic say they usually leave food and water for the cat, so she must have felt safe there. The kittens were treated by a vet, and the whole family was adopted. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Thanks for watching. Our next newscast is tonight at 5.